It's the Ball Boys. Dad, how you doing?
I'm good, Eddie. I'm here. You're here.
I'm Eddie. That's Dave. Dad, we got a lot to talk about. Free agency, the dust has settled
Yep.
for the most part. Not a huge free agency in terms of big names, but there's still a lot of interesting stuff going on.
Very interesting.
We're going to talk about a couple teams that we think, came out best, or I guess like were winners of free agency. And then we'll do some rapid fire stuff of some other stuff that's going on and maybe discuss the Toronto Raptors at
Yep.
the end, who have also been in the news lately. But
Yeah.
let's start here, Dad. I want to talk about the sort of winners of free agency and what teams stood out for you. You can
hmm
go first if you want.
Sure.
Have anybody in mind?
Yeah. Let's talk about the Hawks. I think they made a couple of interesting moves.
The Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah. Obviously, they got Porzingis in that deal, and with Boston,
That was a
and
salary dump.
yeah, it was also because Boston, I think, is kind of punting the season,
Mhm.
right?
Well, they
Because
had to get under the cap. We talked about this, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
anyway, continue.
that combination. But yeah, so they picked up Porzingis. They got Nicholas Alexander Walker from Minnesota.
Nikhil,
Nikhil.
good try though.
Yeah, yeah, close. They got him from yeah, and he should help. And they got Luke Kennard from where was he? He was on Utah, wasn't he? No,
Memphis. No,
Memphis. Anyway, they
Memphis
got
is somebody else. He's bounced around. He might have been a Clipper. I don't even remember.
yeah. I think he was a Clipper at one point.
He was
Anyway,
a Clipper at one point. I don't even know. He's bounced around.
yeah,
But I mean,
yeah, but
he's a shooter off the bench. He's one of the best percentage wise 3-point shooters in the league.
yep. So and adding that to their core, they got Trey Young, Dyson Daniels, Johnson. What's
Jalen
his?
Johnson.
Yeah, yeah. And their supporting guys are pretty good. So they're going to be a good team.
Yeah, I agree. In the context of like if you look at it in a vacuum, you say they got Porzingis, Luke Kennard, and Nikhil Alexander Walker, and it's like okay, that's cool, but doesn't really thrill me. But in the context of their team, Porzingis by no means is a sure thing. I mean, like I think at this point, the injury stuff. I mean, last year, put it this way, he missed 65 combined games in two
Yeah.
years with Boston. He was pretty much a no-show in that playoff run. And I know
Yep.
he gets a lot of credit, like in retrospect, of like, oh yeah, he was so good in the finals. He wasn't. He had one fluky game when he tried to play on one leg,
hmm
and it was a great performance.
Yeah.
But he was hurt that whole playoff run. And then this year, he has this weird mystery illness where we still don't know what happened.
Right.
Who knows? But he
Yeah.
looked like a zombie in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Couldn't play. So the
Yeah,
whole
I
thing,
mean, but he'll help. He'll help. I mean, he's
right?
going to be a backup in Atlanta.
Well,
But
no, I mean, I think he'll. Who knows? Then maybe they'll start him and a Kongwu, who is a very good young center.
yeah,
But Porzingis gives them a different look. I mean, if he's right, it's a nice fit with Trey Young,
hmm
who's one of the best passers in the league and is a pick and roll guy. So a pick
yeah,
and pop threat with Porzingis. Look, like I said, in the context of what they have going on, you
yeah,
mentioned it. Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, Reese Arche, who was the
yeah,
number one pick last year, who,
yep,
everybody made fun of, including us, when they picked him because it was one of the classic nobody wants the number
yeah,
one pick this year.
yeah. It was like
Um,
what's his, like a Raptors pick. Bargnani.
Bargnani,
Yeah,
right? It was kind of like, he's the number one pick, but like, shit, we got to take him. But I mean,
yeah,
he did show some flashes last year,
yep,
right? So anyway, I just think that you know I like what they got, and the Kennard piece coming off the bench as a shooter.
hmm
Nikhil, who's been in big games,
yep.
a
And
three and D wing,
and he's also he plays great defense.
he's a great defensive player, and like I said, he's not afraid of playing in the playoffs.
hmm
A versatile guy who he's a streaky shooter, and that's being kind. But you know, I mean, he's still a positive, and he can still help
Yeah,
you in a lot of ways, and he fits in with a lot of the other guys because he's
yeah,
fits the same profile as a Dyson Daniels and a Reese Arche.
hmm
And I think if you're going to build a team around Trey Young, look, we've seen proof that they can build a team around Trey Young that can be successful.
yeah,
But you have to do it in the right way. And I think the way you got to do it, you got to it's almost like building a team around Luca, which is ironic because those guys got traded for each other on draft night and their careers are kind of forever intertwined in a weird way. But
hmm
you kind of have to surround him with guys that play defense,
yeah,
and hide him. Right.
yeah,
Steph it's another thing, right? Who I think Steph doesn't get enough credit for how much he battles on defense, but you got to surround him with great defensive players to make it work.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, long story short, I agree with you. They were on my list. Atlanta has a lot of stuff going for them.
Yeah. What's a team that you would think in addition to Atlanta? Who else?
Hold on.
Who else
Before we
was a
close the
winner?
book on the Hawks, like, what's their ceiling? Because I'm gonna ask this for all these teams.
What's their ceiling? I think. Well, they're definitely a playoff team, and they could go to the second round
Do you think
easily.
they're a top 5 seed?
Yeah, I do.
Cleveland,
The Knicks.
the Knicks, we'll get to later.
We'll talk about them. The Pacers. I don't know. Like, they lost.
The Pacers,
They just lost Miles Turner in a
and they don't have
trade,
and they don't have Halliburton.
free agency, and they lost Halliburton. Yeah. So
hold the Miles Turner thoughts.
So yeah, but the Pacers are, I don't know, the Celtics.
Yeah, they're in purgatory. Boston's in purgatory.
Yeah. I'll tell you who's looking good in the East is Detroit.
Yep. Orlando.
They'd be a play. There'd be my top. Orlando. There's another team that I want to talk about.
What do you make of Philadelphia?
Philadelphia?
Who knows? Who the fuck knows with them?
I just don't trust Embiid, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I did love the Edgecombe pick. Him and Maxey and McCain. All of a sudden, it's like, shit, they got 3 really good young guards.
Yeah, true.
To work with, and the Paul George thing is a mess.
They still have Paul George, and they still have Embiid. So I mean,
I know. I just like the talent in the backcourt is hard to argue with. That's all I'm saying. And if Embiid is any bit of him, what he once was, I don't know. There's some the East is bad. Milwaukee, who again we're going to talk about the Bucks.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Anyway, I think Atlanta could easily be a top 5 seed in that mix. So we'll see what happens there. All right, a team from me, the Houston Rockets.
There you go. Well, they got Durant. Let's start with that.
Right. And we talked about this when they made the trade. It was just kind of like it's just a perfect fit. Everybody knew it. Yeah. They didn't give up too much. They gave up Jalen Green, who's shown flashes, but inconsistent. And Dylan, who's a nice role player, but Dylan Brooks is a nice role player and a culture setter, but I mean, shit, man, he's just a perfect fit. And, look, I do think that people do have to remember, and sometimes when Kevin Durant gets talked about, it's almost like LeBron. It's like, you're not getting 2016 Kevin Durant. No. You're not even getting 2021 Kevin Durant. Having said that, even at his, this stage of his career, this kind of late stage in his career, he can still get you 20 to 25 points a night. And he's still one of the elite one-on-one scorers, particularly down the stretch of games.
Yeah,
the league.
His defense has slipped.
Yes, you're right, but they don't need. They just kind of need a closer, right? Because that was their Achilles heel last year. It was late game execution, and creating enough easy shots. Like Kevin Durant's a guy that you can give him the ball 10 to 15 times a night, and he can just go and get you a bucket. He can still do that at a high level. And
it'll be interesting because he'll open up the floor for other guys like Freddie or some of their other shooters. Sengun is going to be an interesting fit with him. They got some real good horses on that team, Eddie, and they all I love the fact that they get out and run. They're very similar to Indiana in that sense. They get a lot of baskets off their turnovers and defense.
Well, and I think that stems from their best player, who's Amen Thompson, who I'm going to talk about in a second here. But just quickly, it wasn't just Durant, Dad. They signed Dorian Finney-Smith, who's going to fill that void left by Dylan, as sort of like a tough, defensive-minded swing guy who can hit some threes and, isn't afraid of big moments. And they signed Clint Capella, who's, a backup center. But, Sengun is not what you'd call a great defensive player. So at least Capella gives them another look off the bench that they can throw at, a Wemby or an AD or a Jokic in a postseason situation. And at least he knows where to go and what to do defensively. Right. And he's a big body that can, 6 fouls.
Yeah.
So I thought those were 2 prudent moves.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice mix of young and veteran talent.
Yeah, I do too. And I think they're going to do damage in the West. I really do.
I think personally,
are they going to beat OKC? No.
Well, you know what, Dad? Here's the thing. I think, and we buried the lead here, that this team is, for all those great moves, this team is going to go as far as Amen Thompson takes them. And he's going into his second year. He was a revelation last season. I mean, he really was. And not his second year, his third year. He's going into his third year.
Yeah.
And he was a revelation last year, particularly on defense. He's, I don't know, maybe the most explosive athlete in the league right now. And the damage that he does on the defensive end and in transition, I mean, he's just an electric player. And, offensively, I think he's just scratching the surface of who he's going to be. But if that kid can ever develop a consistent jump shot, watch out, because he's a fucking beast.
Yeah.
And I really do think that his growth is going to determine how far they're ultimately able to go, because he's their best player. They know it. That's why they traded Jalen Green. And I believe in Amen Thompson. I like his brother Asar in Detroit. I think he's really good too. But Amen is a superstar. And so depending on how much he can take a step, and I think he's going to have a big season this year, man. Now that the scoring pressure's off of him with Durant in the fold, Houston's going to be good. I think OKC is still the class of the West, but could they be the second best team? I mean, they were already the 2 seed last year. Now they got wiped out in the first round, but
that's not going to happen this year.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. They're a number 2 seed. I definitely think that.
Well, are they? For sure.
I'd say so. At this point, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, because I was going to ask if you had any other teams in the West on your radar, because I have one more.
In the West, I have another one in the East, and we mentioned them already, Orlando, but I want to talk about them in a bit. But
you want to talk about as your big winner of the offseason?
Yeah.
Okay, make the case.
Yeah. Who did they get?
Desmond Bane.
Bane. Oh, yeah.
That wasn't a free agent signing.
No, that's true.
Okay, whatever. I'll let you have it.
Yeah, no, I think...
okay. Yeah, go ahead. Give me your Magic thoughts.
What?
I said, go ahead. Give me your Magic. We already broke down the Magic like 2 weeks ago, but a little bit. No, you know what? Give me your thoughts. I want to hear it.
I just want to see what the Magic got. Okay, so let's see. I'm looking at this.
Oh, man. You always mess these exercises up by like one.
I know.
You always you're like 95% perfect. I know. And then the last 5%.
Okay. So Magic got the number 32 pick from the Celtics, Noah Penda, number 32. All the Celtics receive Amari Williams, Max Shulga, 26 and 27 second round picks.
Okay, must have missed that Shams tweet.
The Orlando's they're gonna just because of that, man. They got Penda. Holy crap!
Look, they got Desmond Bane, and in the context of a bad East, they're going to be pretty good. Can I throw out you? Can I throw?
No, you can throw me out.
Yeah, Can I throw you out of this podcast right now for that weird take? Why don't I give you my other team in the West that I had in mind?
All right,
the Denver Nuggets.
There you go.
Who made that really great trade for Cam Johnson?
Yeah,
trading Michael Porter Jr. And now they did give up the 30-32 unprotected first round pick, which no, I'm serious. Jokic is going to be 39 years old when that pick conveys. Mm-hmm. That's an asset. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's an asset, and it's a good little bit of business by the Brooklyn Nets. Mm-hmm. Because that's going to be in 3 years. That's going to be a juicy fucking pick. But short term, I mean, Cam Johnson just seems like a better fit than Michael Porter Jr.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They also re-signed Bruce Brown.
Yes, they did. Who admittedly has been just terrible everywhere he's gone since he left the first time.
Yeah.
However, he was
great on Denver when they won the championship.
Yeah. So there's proof of concept that it works in their system and with Jokic.
Yeah.
And there's reason to believe that he can kind of find some of that, good play that he had the first stint. And they also got JV in a trade, in a nothing trade.
Right. Yeah.
With Sacramento. Much like the Clint Capella deal for Houston, just gives them, number one, a quality backup where now when Jokic comes off the court, they're not completely fucked for 5 minutes.
Right.
JV is a guy, again, who not afraid, has played in big games and is not afraid to go out and do his thing for 5 minutes a half to give Jokic a spell in the playoffs. And even if Jokic is out for, let's say, a 2-week period with an injury, you can just plug JV in as your starting center and just unleash him. Because JV, one of the most criminally underrated players in the league, man. You look at his numbers, his counting stats, and it's like, holy shit. Like, the guy's like, if he plays 20 plus minutes, he's like an 18 and 10 guy.
Yeah.
Every night.
Yeah. I know.
And he shoots a high percentage too. Now,
Yeah.
defensively, there are limitations, but
He's not a shot blocker, really. But
right. But he's a big body and he's tough
yeah,
and physical and
rebounds.
rebounds, and he's a good offensive player. So
Oh, it's a smart move, Eddie. And
yeah,
so I'd pencil Denver in number 3.
or maybe number 2. And they also signed Tim Hardaway Jr., who look, I mean, I think at this point we all kind of know what we're getting with Tim Hardaway Jr. But he's again been in big games.
Yeah.
Not afraid to take a shot in a third quarter of a playoff game. Never met a jump shot he didn't like,
Exactly.
So at least he's kind of like a heat check guy as a 9th man off the bench, right? Who's at least a pro, who's not going to fuck up. I like what they've done. They've completely reset, and they're going to be a force next year.
Yeah, they're going to be good. They're going to be really good. Speaking of being a force, how about my beloved Los Angeles Lakers?
Do you want to go there now? Do you have any other winners? Any other teams that San Antonio?
They did okay.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a win. Obviously, it's great bringing in Dylan Harper, and but that was just a fluky them getting the second pick in the draft. So.
Yeah, that was just fluke.
All right, well, let's move on then. Let's talk about the Lakers. Do you want the floor?
No, you go ahead.
You want me to start?
Yeah,
with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll toss back the ball. Let me start with this. Do you think LeBron James will be a Laker after February?
No, I don't.
Care to elaborate on that?
You know what? I've been seeing so much stuff about LeBron lately, and I don't know, Eddie. I mean, they're going to owe him something like $53 million.
He opted in for $52 million.
$52 million. Yeah, I mean,
annually, $52 million. Yeah,
$52 million a year. I don't know, Eddie. I think he's crippling this team, and I think that I don't know. I have a feeling that he's I don't know if he's going to go by his own decision, or whether they're just going to trade him. But I think the time has come where his reign in LA will soon be over, and I can't wait.
Oh, come on! You've always been. He won you a title.
Yeah. He won us a title, but I don't like him on the Lakers. I don't. He just is a bad fit, Eddie. He was a bad fit when he was joining the team 9 years ago, or whatever it was, 8 years ago,
6 years ago.
I just don't like him on the Lakers. I mean, I love what he's done in his career, but I mean, I'm so tired of him trying to get super teams and trying to get the right pieces. He brought in Anthony Davis, and then he brought in.
They won a title.
Yeah, they won a title, but not all of the guys that he brought in worked out. In fact, most of them did.
Russell Westbrook and
so, and I'm just getting tired of it. It's just like.
Can I read you what Rich Paul said on ESPN on Sunday?
No.
He knows the Lakers are building for the future. He understands that, but he values a realistic chance of winning it all. And then he goes on to say, "We understand the difficulty in winning now while preparing for the future. We do want to evaluate what's best for LeBron at this stage in his life and his career. He wants to make every season he has left count. And the Lakers understand that and are supportive of what he wants and what's best for him." So that, to me, he wants to get traded. And, quite frankly, as much as it does bring me enjoyment to hear you bitch about having LeBron on your team, I think at this point it might be the best move, because it's pretty clear. Like, they have Luka, man.
Yeah, it's Luka's team now.
Move on. And it is a little sad, a part of me, because there was a stretch there in March when they went on that 12-2 run, and it was kind of like shit. Watching the two of them try to figure out how to coexist together, it was there's something interesting going on here, and it would be fun to see how that played out. But I mean, big picture, at this point in his career, you can't have two sheriffs in town, and it's Luka's team going forward. And I think it would be best if they were able to cut ties with LeBron, bring in something for him, and then you go, look, we have Luka, we still got Austin Reeves on a very team-friendly contract, and we'll kind of, now we got to kind of figure out, we've replenished some assets from the LeBron deal, wherever they end up trading him, and we can kind of reset a little bit and figure out what our focus is going to be for the next 5 years.
Which brings me to, so who do they trade him to?
I have a great fake one. Do you have an idea?
And what did they get for him?
Well, yeah, I have a great trade. Do you have one?
No, not yet. But
you asked me the question, you don't even have an answer.
I know that a lawyer should never do that.
I have a great one, because I was going to ask you this question.
Okay, what is it? What's yours?
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Jonathan Kuminga Trace Jackson Davis, and one future first round pick for LeBron. So if you're Golden State, you're going, look, we've already won 4 titles with Steph and Draymond.
Well, I mean, hey, he'd be playing with Steph, so
I know.
They
now
love each
look,
other.
I'll be honest. It would be one of those classic 2 years too late teams, like Paul Pierce and KG on Brooklyn, or remember that Houston team with Barkley and Pippen, and that was a disaster.
Yeah,
Karl Malone on the Lakers. Like, there's been several examples of this when it's like it's just a 2 years too late thing, right?
Yeah.
But if you're Golden State, you're going, all right, we've won 4 titles with Steph and Draymond.
Yeah.
We're playing with house money.
Yeah.
We're not going to compete in the West with this roster we have. Let's take one more shot and just say fuck it, and take a swing. Why not? Right? Because then you'd have Steph, Jimmy Butler, LeBron, and Draymond. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And if you're the Lakers, you're going,
but no center. Again, no center.
Well, Draymond can play center. And with, like, if you had a front court of Draymond, LeBron, and Jimmy Butler, I think the 3 of them combined could figure out how to rebound the basketball, Now, the problem would be all 3 of them stay on the court. Anyway, if you're the Lakers, you're going, okay, he's gone anyway. We got a first-round pick. We got a young center that's a rim runner that's a nice fit with Luka and Trace Jackson Davis. And we're bringing in this Kuminga kid who, for whatever reason, has just been in Steve Kerr's doghouse. He's a guy with a lot of talent that we feel like playing with Luka in an expanded role can open up his game to something that it has yet to be discovered in Golden State. Like, there is going to be a team that talks themselves in a Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, I guess.
The Raptors have made calls before they traded for Brandon Ingram. They made calls on that guy.
Right.
Masai wanted, who is another name we're going to talk about in a minute. Masai wanted Jonathan Kuminga for years. There is something there. He's a very talented guy. He just hasn't put it together.
He hasn't unlocked in it yet.
But maybe playing with Luka, as in a system where he would get a ton of touches and playing time.
Yeah.
You could, because I mean, again, like, there's no denying the kid's talent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that?
That makes total sense. Actually, I mean, you're not going to get a ton for LeBron, even though he's LeBron.
He's 40.
I know he's 40. So I mean, that's he's on the downside, and even though he's on the downside, he's still good for what 25, 7 and 9 or whatever.
But it's not about the stats anymore, Dad.
No, it's not about the stats.
It's about can he
complement the team and win a championship?
Can he last 4 rounds in the playoffs after a full regular season and be able to give you enough defensively to, I mean, like, I'll be honest, he got fucking cooked by Julius Randle in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
So if he wants to bitch and complain about, the Lakers title prospects, it's like, you're making $52 million a year. You're the second highest paid player on the team. So if you're the second highest paid player on the team, then
the first.
No, Luka makes more.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is another reason why, I mean, LeBron.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is a valid
point. I think when they brought Luka in, I think he realized that the changing of the guard is happening.
Totally. But just to finish my point, like, I'm not dissing LeBron. He's still, what he's doing as a 40-year-old is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The reality is he's in the second max slot, max contract slot.
Yeah.
So if you're the second highest paid guy on a team, you got to be contributing to winning basketball on a high level.
Yeah.
And if you can't help lead your team to, a conference finals as the second best player, then you got to look in the mirror too, right?
Yeah.
Because either take less money or play better. Like, so anyway, that's just a little aside there, but no, I think on Golden State, it would be interesting as one last kick at the can for everybody.
Yeah.
He's best friends with Draymond. He pretends to be best friends with Steph, even though they both secretly hate each other.
I'm trying to think, like, is there a team in the East that would want him, or that he would be a fit in? And I'm like, no,
Cleveland.
I can't. Maybe, but
does he go home to Cleveland? You say take Darius Garland, who we've seen in the playoffs just doesn't make sense next to Donovan Mitchell because they both don't play defense,
right?
And then we have no point guard, but we have LeBron. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's well, that's not a bad idea actually, Cleveland, because he'd be going home, right? I mean,
Woo-hoo-hoo.
I
He's
know,
already done that like
I
three
know.
times.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
Anyway, it's yeah. Anyway, I don't think. In answer to your original question, no, he won't be a Laker by February.
The Knicks,
The Knicks. I was thinking about the Knicks, but what do the Knicks give up? I mean, OG,
OG and a pick.
OG and a pick. That's what you get for him. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's like your point, Dad. Who's trading anything more than that,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like at this point,
It would have to be
lining up
OG.
to
It would have
trade
to
their
be
future?
OG, and 2 first-round picks.
Who's lining up to trade their future for 40-year-old LeBron James? Like it's just like you got to be realistic about the market,
But look
right?
at the next situation. If they got LeBron and gave up OG and 2 draft picks, future draft picks, look at
I
their
think it's way
lineup.
too much. I
Look
think
at
it's
their
way too
lineup.
much. OG's a better player than. Well, okay, I won't say that, but yeah, I just no, I'm not doing that.
OG's a better defensive player, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
he's a better fit
he's a better fit. But hey, I mean,
because I mean Brunson has the
LeBron
ball.
would be playing in the Garden. I mean, every night. Like,
Yeah, it would be fun. It would be fun. But like, does
I can
that make
see
the
it.
Knicks a title contender?
I can see that. Yeah, because look who else is in the East. I mean, who?
The Hawks. Woohoo!
Yeah, there you go. The Hawks.
Let's talk about the Knicks, by the way, because oh fuck, we're going a little overtime. But you know what? Let's go a couple more minutes here. The Knicks announced today that he hired Mike Brown as their head
Oh
coach.
my God.
He's back, Dad. Sleepy
Brown.
Mike. He's back in our. I'm so
Brown.
happy. He's back in our lives.
Oh my God! I thought we got rid of that guy.
With Mike Brown for another season.
Oh
So
my
after
God.
all that, after trading Tom Thibodeau with no plan,
Yeah,
their big solution is Mike Brown. And
Mike
the
Brown.
funny thing is, people are actually like buying this shit. Their odds to win the East went up after they hired Mike Brown.
Oh my God.
But Mike Brown is a shitty coach, man.
He's one of the shittiest coaches ever.
He had that good season in Sacramento where he won Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
And
Woohoo.
that was it.
That was
I
it.
mean, and I'm not even, I like Mike Brown. I enjoy Mike Brown. Okay. He makes watching League Pass
Oh,
a
he's
more
a moron,
enjoyable
Eddie.
experience.
He's a fucking moron. Look
No,
at
he's not. He's
Yes,
great. I'm a big Mike Brown fan. I like Mike Brown.
Oh my God. Anyways, yeah. I mean, the Knicks. Hey, like I say,
They might be the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, they might be. I mean, just because everyone else sucks. I mean, Boston, Indiana, they're gone. They're gone. Orlando, who knows? Detroit's still around. Detroit's actually really good.
They'll be good, but I mean, are they a title team? Come on.
I don't think so. Atlanta, you mentioned, obviously. So maybe Atlanta and the Knicks and in the finals of the East. I don't know.
Good Lord. And meanwhile, the West is just
I do
loaded.
remember at one time when we were at the Garden and
Yeah, that's right.
the game that we saw was the Hawks and the Knicks.
You remember who was on that? Any of those teams?
Oh,
Joe Johnson
Joe Johnson
was on the Hawks.
Yeah,
He was their best player.
yeah.
And I believe it was like during the Knicks years where they had like Jamal Crawford and it might have been in Eddie. It was definitely Zach Randolph.
Yeah.
I think Eddie might have been gone. Big fat Eddie Curry.
Oh God, Eddie was gone by then, but it was.
I think Zach Randolph was still around.
Yeah.
Some Jared Jeffries mixed in there.
Anyway,
Was Marbury gone? I think Marbury might have been gone too. I don't even. Oh yeah, Marbury was gone.
yeah,
Marbury was gone. Nate Robinson, maybe. There was like a young Nate Robinson.
yeah.
Just a strange time in basketball. No, look, the Knicks might be the best team in the East, but it would be great watching Mike Brown sipping champagne and hoisting the Larry O'Brien.
That'd be funny.
With
Don't think it's ever going to happen with Mike Brown, but maybe with the Knicks.
Before we finish up here, I want to just quickly touch on the Bucks thing because this is just completely inexcusable. We talked about this.
We also got to talk about Masai.
We do, and we got time. So this Bucks thing. I mean, we talked about this.
Yeah.
So they bring in Miles Turner, 4 years, $107 million.
Yeah.
In a vacuum, you say, okay, that's a nice deal.
Mhm.
He's a good player, albeit a flawed player,
Mhm.
but he did just have a run to the finals, game 7 finals of starting center.
Mhm.
It was an up and down playoff for him,
Mhm.
but he's a good starting center, and he's an upgrade on Brook Lopez.
Yes.
But in order to do that, they amnestied Damian Lillard, who they traded like Drew Holiday and a bunch of picks for
Right.
2 years ago.
Yep.
And now they used a stretch provision. So what this means is they have to pay Damian Lillard $22.5 million against the cap for 5 years.
Oh,
So that means that every year, Dad,
yeah.
you take $22.5 million.
Out of your budget.
You set it on fire.
Right.
And I mean, for context, that's what Jakob Pertl makes. Now, whether or not Jakob Pertl should be making that much money is for another day. Yikes. But the point is, that's the kind of contract you give to like your fourth best player.
Yeah.
Like it's an impact guy that you could be paying $22.5 million, and that's just gone from their books.
Yeah.
It's inexcusable for Miles Turner. Like, I'll let you go in a second. To me, that's the move you make when you're on the precipice of winning a title and you're one guy away. That's not the move you make when you're in purgatory like the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah. And they are. My God. So not only do they lose Lopez and they amnestied Dame, but I mean, yeah, as you say, Miles Turner's okay. He's pretty good, but he's not going to win you a title on his own. And that team is a mess. That ownership is a mess. That's the reason. The ownership is a fucking mess.
It is.
I honestly, I don't know why Giannis hasn't demanded a trade, or I don't know why there isn't more heat under that fire, because I don't know. I mean, there were rumors he wanted out. There were rumors that he was going places earlier in the year. And if I was Giannis, I'm thinking, fuck that shit. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, and it just screams desperation because Dame is an expiring contract, or he would have been in an expiring contract next year.
Right.
So if you wait it out, at least that's something that you can like use as in a trade, in a three-way. Something. Now I get it. He's going to be like a 30-whatever-year-old point guard coming off an Achilles who's already on the downside.
Yeah.
But at least he's an expiring that you can make something work and turn it into something.
Well, I was going to say, like, is he done?
Oh, he's totally done. But that's not the point. To mutilate your cap for the next half decade.
Oh, I know.
And do this just to get Miles Turner. Like it's borderline insanity.
Yeah.
And what they should have done is just hold on to Dame, screw Miles Turner, and like I don't know. I mean, like to just completely screw yourself for 5 years. $22.5 million against the cap, Dad.
I know.
5 seasons.
Yeah, I know. That's
like
crazy.
How do you build a team if you're starting $22.5 million lower in the cap than everybody else?
Right.
Like that's like I said, an impact player that you can't pay.
Right.
It just makes no sense why they would do this.
It's incompetence on whoever's running the team.
Right. And like I said, in a vacuum, it's like, yes, Damian Lillard's done. Miles Turner is an upgraded center. But at what cost? I want to play a little game, okay?
Oh, okay.
You're Giannis.
Oh, okay.
And you're coming into the office, and I'm Bucks management, and I'm gonna try to convince you to stay in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Okay? Ready?
Yep.
And you're gonna like knock knock,
Knock knock.
Oh, Giannis, come in, baby. Let's go. Good to see you. How was your summer?
I'm gone.
No, seriously. I got a proposition to throw at you, Giannis.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Ready?
Throw me a proposition.
Here's our plan. We have Kevin Porter Jr., Kyle Kuzma, Miles Turner, no picks because we traded them for Drew Holiday, and then again for Dame, and no future. Stick around.
You know what? I think I will.
Yeah, there you go. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I know. It's so why hasn't he moved?
Well, I mean,
too expensive?
Keep your eye on your phone.
They traded Luka, right? I mean, if Luka can get traded,
that was okay. Come on, you can't compare anything. That was
that was incompetence too,
right? And on that note, it's so funny that like Nico Harrison has been like, oh man, taking his stupid victory lap. It makes me so mad. Going like, well, like now you see the vision. It's like, no, there was no vision.
There was no vision. You lucked into a Cooper flag. You
lucked into the number one pick. You dumb fuck.
Yeah,
you traded a generational superstar for Anthony Davis and Max Christie. Oh my god!
I know.
And he's just the fucking guy. He's just like, see, I told you it would work out. You fucking idiot.
You. I know.
It makes me so mad that they got.
Oh, it makes me mad too. Anyway, let's.
What a joke.
Let's talk about.
Speaking of horrible management, yes. Let's. We're
exactly right. Horrible management. Ed Rogers. Hey.
Dude, I mean, honestly, with all the shit that's going on these days, it kind of takes me back to like the Rob Babcock Wild West.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's crazy. They are
just
so fucked up. I know.
Terrible GMs everywhere. everywhere. There's just terrible moves being made.
Oh, I know. It's
Like we're talking drafting Joey Graham.
yeah.
Actually, no, we're talking drafting Charlie Villanueva and Joey Graham ahead of Danny Granger, which will forever be the one of the dumbest draft night things. They had the 7th and the 14th pick.
Yeah.
And they passed on Danny Granger twice for Charlie V and Joey Graham. All right, here you have the floor.
Okay. Well,
Give me your Masai thoughts.
Masai Ujiri is obviously gone. They fired him, and basically it came down to Ed Rogers didn't want to pay him $15 million a year, and I think some people are saying, well, Masai won a championship in 2019, but what has he done for me lately? And it's true that the team has struggled over the last couple of years. But they were close in the bubble, and they almost did it. So I'll include that in a good year for Masai. But in the last couple of years, it's the team has really struggled. The direction of the team I've been confused about. They all have been drafting
you and everybody else.
They've been drafting, the same kind of players, 6'9" with 7'1" wingspan and, athletic wings. Like they got like 20 of them. It's like, so they don't have a true center. I mean, Pirtle's been really good actually, but is he the guy that's going to bring you a championship? No. Pirtle, I think would be excellent as a backup, but I don't see him as a starting center anymore. Anyway, they need an impact center, and they need. I don't know what their point guard. What's his name?
Emmanuel
Quickly, thank you.
He's making $45 million a year.
Yeah, and I haven't. He's been hurt half the time. Like I haven't really seen what he can do. So I don't know anything about the point guard position. Scotty Barnes. I don't know, man. To me, he's a number 2 guy on a team. He's not
a really good player, but he's not a number 1.
Not a number 1. Really good player. I have yet to see Brandon Ingram on the court.
You mean Brandon Ingram, the guy with the worst sprained ankle ever known to man?
Yeah, the sprained ankle that went on for 8 months.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a
fucking. He hasn't even played.
No.
Been a Raptor for 6 months.
I know, it's crazy. So I'm looking. Actually, I'm interested to see that dynamic with him on the floor, and to see how that opens up the court for everybody else. They got pieces.
They're such a fucking mess, Dad. They're
a mess. Okay,
they're a mess.
But the biggest problem.
Anybody who thinks they aren't going to be a mess is kidding themselves.
But the biggest problem with the Toronto Raptors right now is Ed Rogers. That's the biggest problem. I just don't think that guy. He didn't like Masai. They didn't get along. He tried to get rid of him a couple of years ago, and I think he's been tolerating him and just said this is enough. I'm taking control of the whole team and the whole MSLE.
MSLE.
MLSE, whatever. Yeah. On July the 1st or whatever.
Major losers that suck at everything.
So now he owns all the shitty teams in Toronto. But that's the reason why he was gone, is because of Ed Rogers. And, it's Masai Ujiri, for all his faults and for all the struggles that the team has had in the last couple of years. I love the guy. I love the moves that he made when we won a championship. I think he's a visionary, not just on the basketball court, but in many other aspects. Like his Giants of Africa Foundation is doing amazing stuff. I think he's tapped into a market or a pipeline in Africa to find talent that they can send over back to North America and to the NBA. It happened with Siakam. It's happened with a couple of other guys. And that's a huge opportunity to find players. And there's tons of them there, really good players.
It is ironic that you say that, because he just passed on a African center for a 6'7" sophomore forward from South Carolina.
Right.
So, kind of strange, that one. But I read that was one of the things Ed Rogers wanted Colin Murray-Boyles, and Masai wanted Malawak. And it's just something I read. I don't know if it's true.
That makes sense. Like,
and they were like, and Masai was like, you know what? Like, I'm done. Get rid of me. So who knows whether that's true?
Yeah, but I would have taken Malawak. Like,
that's what they should have done. I mean, we talked. It was a stupid pick, and I don't mean to insult a kid. Like, I'm sure Colin Murray-Boyles is going to be a good player, but it's just a bad fit for what the Toronto Raptors need.
Yeah.
He also said "fuck me" when he got drafted to us, so that's great. Awesome.
Not a great spot.
So can I just go over some of the moves that Masai has made in the last 5 years? By the way, the team has missed the playoffs 4 out of 5 years since the bubble.
Right.
The 1 year they made it, they lost in the first round, won 1 game. So little to zero playoff success. Haven't drafted anyone good other than Scotty Barnes. And the only reason they got Scotty Barnes was because they jumped up in the lottery and the 4th pick fell in their lap.
Yeah.
Other than that, the drafts have pretty much been busts. No offense to Grady Dick. So they could have traded Kyle Lowry in 2021, picked up a Lakers draft pick. Didn't do that. Could have traded Freddie in 2022.
Yep.
Could have picked up a young prospect and a pick. Didn't do that. He walked.
Yep.
Traded Norman Powell for Gary Trent Jr., who is no longer on the team.
Nope.
And Norman Powell was arguably the best 6 man in the league last year.
Yeah.
That one was defensible at the time. I think in the moment we all were like, they didn't want to pay Norm. Gary Trent was a younger player with there's maybe he has a higher ceiling, but didn't work out.
No.
Waits way too long to trade Pascal Siakam.
Yep.
Ends up getting essentially the assets to get Brandon Ingram.
Right.
So we traded Pascal Siakam,
for
who
Brandon Ingram
just won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP and was the second best player on the finals team.
Yep.
For Brandon Ingram and no picks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And check that one off. OG Anunoby, same thing.
Yeah.
And so, again, no picks. RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly.
Right.
RJ Barrett has been a solid player.
Yep.
Emmanuel Quickly, as we just touched on, has not.
No.
And by the way, as I also mentioned, gave Emmanuel Quickly, for reasons that remain unclear, a 5-year, $165 million contract.
Yeah. For
Yikes.
a guy who hasn't played very much.
I mean, I could go, and then the biggest one.
I've heard that they're going to not only that, all that stuff, but I heard that RJ is on the block.
Right. Right. So when you could have got more for OG Anunoby. And then this is the one that was the most egregious. You trade a first-round pick in 2024 for Jakob Poeltl in a year that it was clear that they had nothing going for them.
Right.
Missed the playoffs anyway.
Yep.
Missed a chance at the 7th pick where they could have got Rob Dillingham, who has not been great on Minnesota yet because he's been buried on the bench. But it's a guy with a ton of talent that definitely has a lot of room to grow and is a really good young prospect.
Yep.
Instead, they traded for Jakob Poeltl, who's maybe like the 16th best center in the league, doubled down by paying him twice. They restructured his contract this year. They paid him. They paid him $104 million.
Yeah.
For a guy that since the trade, they haven't made the playoffs with him as their starting center. So
yeah,
it's just, I mean, I can go on and on, Dad.
Yeah, I know.
I could talk about drafting Grady Dick over Cam Whitmore.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, you got to look at the last 5 years of what's happened in this organization. You got to say, holy shit, man, this is a problem.
Well, Dan Tolzman, who's the director of scouting, and also Bobby Wagner,
Bobby Wagner, the Seahawks DB.
No, Bobby
Webster.
Bobby
Fisher.
Bobby Fisher. Where are you, Bobby Fisher? Yeah, Bobby Webster and Dan Tolzman. So they're partly responsible for this too, Eddie.
Partly responsible.
Yeah,
hardly Bobby Knight.
Bobby Fisher, I like that one.
Bobby Webster's a moron, Dad.
So
moron.
So that's he's in charge of the franchise now. Thanks, Ed Rogers.
Oh God, I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah, so where do the Raptors go from here? Continue their mediocrity? Descent into hell? I mean, that's where it looks like. I mean, my God, it's so bleak.
If you were going glass half full here, okay?
Oh no, it's not half full.
It talked yourself
it's
into.
all fucking empty, Eddie.
You got Scotty Barnes. You got Brandon Ingram, who's
I want to see what he does.
Everybody says he wants to be here, and he's happy about being here, and a guy that when he's right, can get you 25 a night with his eyes closed.
He can also get you a couple of dime bags.
Well, yeah, he's hurt all the time. That's the problem. He's a Porzingis kind of guy.
Yeah.
When he plays, he's actually really impactful.
Really good.
But you can't stay on the court. So that's the question with him. I'm trying to make the case. I just can't. I mean, Jakob Poeltl is a good center. Emmanuel Quickly, again, I can't even do it. I'm sorry. I've been seeing people tweeting where it's like, oh, the Raps are a top 6 team, a top 6 team this year. I'm like, a top 6 team
No,
Fuck that. They're terrible.
they're horrible.
Even with the bad Eastern Conference.
We're going back into the dark days, Eddie, like of the early days of the franchise, back to 1996. I mean, come on, it's.
I think there were darker days in '96.
Well, yeah, but
I watched Joey Graham and Charlie
Oh
Villanueva
yeah, okay,
with Mike James.
yeah, okay.
Remember Mike James?
Oh yeah, Mike.
I loved
James,
Mike
yeah,
James.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mo Pete.
Mope. Yeah,
Keon Clark. Remember Keon Clark?
Oh God, the graveyard of Raptors players is just astounding.
Rafael Arujo is my favorite. He was my favorite.
Rafael Arujo and Bargnani. Let's not forget him.
Oh, what about the Williams brothers, Eric and Aaron, who they traded for Vince Carter, one of the best players in the league, and they got Eric and Aaron Williams and Alonzo Mourning, who didn't show up.
Didn't even show up.
What a joke!
Yeah, what a joke. Well,
like I said, man, I'm telling you, we're back in Rob Babcock land.
Yeah, we are.
Rob Babcock is back.
We're in basketball purgatory in Toronto.
Well, but not just in Toronto, like all across the league.
Yeah,
like it's like the amount of stupid GM shit that's going on these days. I mean, we just talked for 40 minutes about it.
Yeah,
about all the dumb shit that's going on with these teams. I mean, it's like a plague.
I know it is.
I don't know what's happening.
It's crazy. Well, it makes for an interesting offseason, and summer league's coming up, and yeah, I mean, we'll see. It'll be an interesting season next year. Looking forward to a new season of our podcast too.
Who do you think's going to win the title next year?
Hey man,
Sleepy Mike.
No,
Sleepy Mike do it.
Sleepy Mike. No, I'm going with Shea. I'm going with the OKC.
It's probably the best bet. I haven't looked at the odds, but that
Man,
Western Conference,
that team is stacked.
Yeah, they are, but that West is going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, it is.
By the way, speaking of super GMs, I just have to highlight once again just Vivek and the Sacramento Kings, who turned Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox into basically DeMontis Sabonis and Zach LaVine, which is just awesome. I just think that fact is all right. Let's go. We went way over. I'll see you later.
All right, see ya.